Let's talk about the perimeters of the most important shapes that you're going to need to know. The first shape that you're going to need to know is a triangle. Now, this is an equilateral triangle, so the sides will be A, B, and C. The formula for the perimeter is A plus B plus C. Now, let's look at an example. So, let's say we have a triangle with sides 3, 4, and 5. The perimeter will be 3 plus 4 plus 5, so this will be 12. So this is our final answer. The next shape that you're going to need to know is a rectangle. So in a rectangle, some of the sides are equal because they're parallel and perpendicular. So this side and this side are equal, and this side and this side are equal. So we can call these sides A and B. And we really only need to know these two sides because the other two sides are the same. So the perimeter will be 2 times A plus 2 times B. Let's look at an example. So let's say we have 4 and 7. The perimeter will then be 2 times 4 plus 2 times 7. This is 8 plus 14, which is 22. So this is our final answer. The next shape you're going to need to know is a square. In a square, all the sides are equal. So we can just call all the sides S. Now, the perimeter of a square will be 4 times S. So let's say we have a square with side length of 3. The perimeter is 4 times 3, which is 12. So that's our final answer. The next shape that you're going to need to know is an equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, all the sides are equal. So we can name them all S. The perimeter will be 3 times S. So if we have an equilateral triangle with side 3, the perimeter will be 3 times 3, which is 9. That's our final answer. The next shape that you're going to need to know is a regular hexagon. Now, we can assume this hexagon is regular. So all the sides will be S. The perimeter will then be 6 times S. Now, if all the sides are different, you just have to add all of them up. So, let's say we have a regular hexagon with side length 6. The perimeter will then be 6 times 6, which is 36. So that's our final answer. The last two-dimensional shape you're going to need to know is a circle. Now, the perimeter of a circle is called the circumference because it's curved. So the formula for the circumference is 2 pi r. And that the radius is from the center of the circle to the corner. So that's r. So let's say we have a circle with a radius of 3. So the circumference will be 2 times pi times 3, which is 6 pi. Now, we need to learn the surface area formulas for some of the most important three-dimensional shapes. The first shape that you're going to need to know is a cylinder. For a cylinder, we're going to have to know the radius and the height. The formula for a cylinder is 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. This might seem really complicated, but it's really intuitive. So these two circles have a combined area of pi r squared times 2. So this is 2 pi r squared. So this gives us this part of the formula. Next, we need to find the lateral surface area. So this is the vertical component. Now, the vertical component, which I've highlighted in red, the formula for that is we're going to have to find the circumference of the bottom, and then we're going to have to multiply it by the height. And this gives us this part of the equation. So let's look at an example. Let's say we have a cylinder with radius 3 and height 4. The surface area will be 2 times pi times 3 times 4 plus 2 times pi times 3 squared, which is 9. And this will be equal to 2 times 3 times 4, which is 24 pi plus 18 pi. This will be 42 pi. This is our final answer. The next shape that we have is a cone. So for a cone, we're going to need to know the radius and the height. Now, to derive the equation is a little bit more complicated, but we can still get parts of it. So the bottom, so the blue part, will be pi times r squared. And the red part will be, this one's a little bit less intuitive, pi times r times L. Let's say we have a cone and it has a radius of 2 and a height of 6. Now we need to find L, not the height. If we look at it closely, we can see that this is actually a right triangle, and we're trying to find the hypotenuse. L is the hypotenuse, which is the red part. So this is one of the legs, this is the other leg, and combined they give us the hypotenuse, which is L. So we can use Pythagorean theorem. So the red part, which is L, will be the square root of 6 squared plus 2 squared. This will be square root of 36 plus 4, which is square root of 40, which is 2 square root 10. So we have the L. Now we can plug the rest in. So the surface area will be pi times 2 squared plus pi times 2 times 2 square root 10. This will be 4 pi plus 4 pi square root 10. We can factor out the pi, and we get pi times 4 plus 4 square root 10. You don't have to factor out, but this looks slightly cleaner. Now, the last shape we're going to have to know is a rectangular prism. So let's say the rectangular prism has base B, width W, and height H. Now, the surface area can be broken down into each of the rectangles. So we have these two. Then we have those two. And lastly, we have these two. Now, I know this is really, really confusing and messy because it's drawn on a two-dimensional surface. So instead, let's represent it like this. So we have this triangle. This is B by H. This triangle, which is H by W. And this triangle, which is B by W. So the B by W is shaded in blue. The H by W is shaded in green. And the B by H is shaded in red. Surface area will be 2 times B times H plus H times W plus B times W. So let's look at an example. Let's say we have a rectangular prism with base 4, height 3, and width of 5. So the surface area will be 2 times 4 times 3 plus 3 times 5 plus 4 times 5. 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. 12 plus 15 is 27, and 27 plus 20 is 47. 47 times 2 is 94. So this is our final answer. Now, finding the perimeter and surface areas of shapes can be a little bit tricky, so this requires a lot of practice. I've linked the practice worksheet and its answers in the comment section, so make sure to go check those out.